Hey guys, so today I have a beauty tips and tricks video for you. I filmed this video 4 times from start to finish, and each time it was like 25 minutes of edited footage. So the full time I was filming was like 2 hours. So 2 hours 4 times. Yay! Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to get in really quick, really fast. I have tips and tricks for you guys that I've learned throughout the years. Again, I don't have my cosmetology license, but this is just stuff that I've learned from other makeup artists or anytime that I'm doing my makeup and I just kind of come up with something that like, oh, this works well too. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Comment down below telling me what you learned and if you have any good tips and tricks. Give this video a giant thumbs up if you love makeup because we are just makeup lovers here. And don't forget to subscribe because I have so many fun videos coming for you guys. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump in. Alright, so the first step is moisturizing your face. Now I actually already put it on my face, I just wanted it to kind of sit in and absorb while I'm talking because I have this huge tip that I need to talk to you guys about. So this is basically the simple hydrating light moisturizer. I love it so much because it's mostly water-based, it works great with my skin, and it never really interferes with my foundation. Now a lot of people like to skip on the moisturizer and I say don't do that whatsoever, just don't. Moisturizer is so great. Then the next step you would think is primer, right? And the problem with sometimes mixing primers and foundations is the situation where you have silicone-based primers and foundations and water-based primers and foundations. This actually came up when I was talking to one of my friends and she says, hey, I don't know what happened today, but can you tell my skin is like, it looks like my foundation is just peeling off my face. And she's like, my skin must be so dry. And I said, hold up, nope, I know your answer. And I said, hey, are you wearing a primer today? And she said, yeah, I am. And I said, there's your problem. Look at this. This is a silicone-based primer and this is a water-based primer. When you think of silicone-based primers, think of Smashbox Photo Finish, think of L'Oreal Revitalift Miracle Blur, or even the Maybelline Baby Skin, okay? These are the types of primers that kind of are classified around silicone-based primers. You can even look at the ingredients. Water-based primers are usually like Magic Lumi from L'Oreal, maybe the Tarte Flawless, or even the Laura Mercier Hydrating Primer. These that are water-based primers cannot be mixed with a silicone-based foundation. So when you have silicone primer on your face and you put on a water-based foundation, it starts peeling because they don't stick well together. That's why you have to really pay attention to that ingredient, and when you use a water-based primer, use a water-based foundation. Usually, at least the way I can tell, is whether or not it kind of just spins and moves around on my hand. If I put it on the back of my hand, if it starts dripping, then it's usually water-based. If it stays in a little kind of squirt on the back of my hand, it's usually silicone-based. But just be aware that if your foundation does start kind of looking like it's peeling and you're like touching and it's just coming off in little balls, that's usually because you mix 2 different types of main ingredients together, and that is never a good idea. So very carefully just look into what foundations you have, what kind of primers, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. The next step is primers, and I just want to stress that primers are totally optional. The thing is, when people talk about primers, sometimes it's kind of gimmicky because you don't necessarily need a primer. It's useful if you have maybe oily skin or a serious kind of situation which you just want to work on your face and kind of give it a little bit extra, kind of more of like a perfect seamless finish. The thing is, I usually say, you don't necessarily need a primer because the reason why we put on a primer is so that the foundation has something to stick to. When you put foundation onto a bare face, that foundation seeps into your pores and then it starts to look kind of cakey and you can tell and see every single blemish you have. But instead, if you put on a moisturizer first and let that kind of absorb into the pores and you put on the foundation after that, it gives you the same exact effect if you were to wear a primer. Some primers, yeah, they're really great. Mostly I use primers to hydrate and to like highlight. So today I'm going to be using this as the Laura Mercier Hydrating Primer on my cheeks, and I'm going to be using the Cover FX, the Illuminating Primer on my kind of forehead and nose where I want to really highlight my face. And that's another tip that I have. Don't be scared to mix different primers together. If you have something that, you know, you want to do to your face, don't be scared to use different primers around your face. Just because you got a hydrating primer doesn't mean you can't use a mattifying primer at the same time in different parts of your face. Now your face is prepped and primed, and what I'm going to talk to you guys about is color correcting. Now this is something that I do only when I have really big blemishes or big problem areas. Today a lovely pimple jumped out on my chin. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is not the chin, this is like the jawline. but my goodness is it huge, and I'm going to show you how to cover it up. There's also some redness on my cheeks that I wanted to really show you guys how I cover up and how I color correct. Now, my favorite part is color correcting before I put on my foundation. That way, it's like a cream product, so it kind of just sits on my face, and after that the foundation just sticks to it a lot better, rather than putting on the foundation first and then trying to get the cream to stick to the liquid foundation. That usually is harder to do. Now, this is one of my favorite palettes. This is from MAC, and it's called the Pro Conceal and Correct palette, and this is in the color light. So as you can see, there's 4 shades up here. These are just supposed to be skin tone shades, so you can put them on blemishes and that kind of stuff. The pink tone right here is to color correct dark blue areas, so maybe you have a vein or under eye circles, something like that. And the yellow is to brighten, so places maybe where you want to highlight, like your nose, your forehead, and maybe on your chin, those places you can use the yellow tone. So it's up to you what you want to do, but all you have to do is just put it all over your face. Alright, so now all you have to do is take a good brush. Now my favorite is Sedona Lace's 872. I love their little mini concealer brushes. They're really flattering on your face. Like, they make all the cream products and everything blend in beautifully. So I'm first going to start out with the normal skin tone shades to deal with that sucker over there. And I'm just going to apply that. And here we go. Okay, so as you can see, I added the yellow color around my mouth because I wanted to highlight that area. I find that especially if I'm using a darker lip color, my lip area, sometimes it just looks better when I line my lips if I just highlight this underneath my foundation. I also want to stress how important it is for you not to use too much product. Usually I just pack on a good amount and then I just try to work with that. I try to blend it around my face. We're not trying to cover everything up completely, because don't forget, you're going back in with a foundation, and you can always go back with a second layer of foundation after if you really want a full coverage face. So just relax, apply it so that it looks like there's not too much color there, and then you're good to go. Now I'm going to go in with the Sedona Lace 224 brush. I absolutely adore this brush for under the eye area, so that's why I'm taking this pink shade to counteract the darkness I have there. And I'm just going to lightly apply this. This brush fits perfectly in the corner, so as you can see, it's going to blend seamlessly. Now it's important to go ahead and remember exactly what kind of foundation you want to use. If you used a water-based primer, make sure you stick with a water-based foundation. So I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever HD because it is one of my faves. And I'm just going to take probably 2 squirts of it on the back of my hand. And you can see it's water-based because it starts going down my hand. So we better start working quick. I'm going to go ahead and take a beauty blender because it's one of my favorite tools to use on my face. And the way I am going to tell you to apply your foundation is, you saw I just put 2 squirts on the back of my hand, and that is probably going to be the most I'm going to need at the current moment. We're going to start by patting this in the center of our face, and you're going to be using kind of a bouncing motion. By bouncing it, you're really just pressing that product into the moisturizer we put on, rather than smearing it side to side, which will not kind of help the product become more kind of full coverage. It'll just move the product side to side, and you're going to see it's just going to look really messy. When you're pressing it in, this is why we put on a primer or a moisturizer. What we're doing is we are going in and we are pushing into that moisturizer and giving it a tint with this foundation. I used the 2 things that were on the back of my hand, the 2 squirts, and I'm pretty much done with my face because we prepped and used the cream concealer underneath. It just feels like I finished everything because my skin still looks good and I barely used any foundation. You will notice some areas around your face, especially where your blemishes or something like that is, you might want to add a little bit more foundation. Now, this is the key also, a huge tip for a flawless face. If you're trying to add a lot of coverage, maybe you don't want to color correct with the cream products in the beginning, go ahead and apply 1 light layer of foundation onto your face. Let that sit and dry, and then apply your second layer. It's the same way as if you were painting your nails. You're not going to go ahead and just drop a giant amount of nail polish on your nail and just let it dry. Because after that, we all know that feeling when you touch your nail and it squishes and you can see your fingerprint. It just moves around and it just comes right off your nail. that sucks. Same way with your foundation, except it will dry, it'll just look really cakey and really bad. So apply a light amount. That's why I say just 1 drop or 2 drops. Better to apply less and then apply more if you need it, rather than applying too much and then feeling like you have to use everything because you don't want to waste your product. Foundations can be expensive, so save your money and apply a little bit and you'll see you'll look a lot more natural, a lot better. I learned this tip after high school, and so it really just, it sucks because I always looked like an overdone crazy person in high school. So again, just going in, say we have that blemish over there that we want to cover. Now that my foundation dried, just go ahead and pat in the second layer wherever it is you need. So maybe I have just a little bit of redness peeking through right here. There we go. Now our face is practically flawless. What I'm going to do now is move on to concealer. It's one of my favorite parts, but there's so many different concealers and I don't want you to get confused. So basically you have matte concealers or stuff that you can use around your face. Usually those are creams. So right here for this product, right there on my face, I'm going to go in with that same exact palette we were using before and just apply a little bit of extra coverage. I like to apply a lot onto my blemishes just so it doesn't kind of pop out in the middle of the day. Like you're after class, you look in the mirror and you're like, Fred, what are you doing on my face? You know, like you were supposed to be on vacay, like please cover up. So that's why I like to apply a cream product on top of that to just make sure everything sticks and everything there is covered, and I'm going to go in with a powder after that to just set it. So concealers, let's talk about that. We basically have concealers that you use, something like the NARS creamy concealer is something I would stick to under my eyes. Cream concealers I like to use all over my face, kind of blemishes, that area, color correcting, but cream concealers can be really harsh and crease really badly under your eyes, so liquid concealers are best for that. And that's why I really love this one, and I also really love the Maybelline Fit Me. That one is phenomenal. So whichever one you decide to choose, you should totally use it. Now I'm going to be taking this NARS creamy concealer underneath my eye, and this is going to be doing the same exact thing that we were doing with the foundation. Basically, we already color corrected, so we shouldn't be seeing any blue tones coming in through our skin, but we do still want to cover it, so that's why I'm taking my foundation, or my concealer at the current moment, to just cover it up. And I only put it in there like twice, so I'm not applying too much product. Now I'm going to take my beauty blender and just blend it in. Alright, so now that we've done that, I really am happy with the way my face is looking, but I want to kind of highlight right here in this area because I do feel like you can still see that I have circles, like kind of when I bring my face down. Do you see that line right there? What we're going to do to get rid of that is something that brightens and highlights. Now this is something that you can find at the drugstore. What I really love is the Rimmel, I believe it's called the Wake Me Up Concealer. Hold that thought. I wasn't even close. The Match Perfection Concealer. This is basically a concealer and a highlighter in one. You can see it says 2-in-1 concealer, highlighter in one. That means that it will highlight that area. And those are the concealers you want to stay away from around blemishes. You want something like a cream concealer, or even the NARS creamy concealer, something that is matte and is not going to reflect, because we don't want people seeing that lump on your face. So we're going to go in with MAC Prep and Prime and Light Boost. Now Light Boost is the perfect color for me. They do have like a pinky shade and a shade a little darker for people with deeper and tanner complexions. Guys, come on, like I mean I'm the palest person on this planet, so let's just relax about that. But what I'm going to do is just apply a certain amount right there. Now that is a great look. New trends starting this year, guys. And I'm just going to apply it going up, kind of following where that line is, because that's where we want to really hide our little lines. But seriously, this does the trick. Normally I don't do this too much. It's all an illusion, but it looks great in pictures, and especially when you're like on camera. So I'm going to just also apply this around my face, just a little bit. This is just it. Smears around everywhere. I like to apply it wherever I want the brightness to be. Now applying it over here because I want those lines to be hidden as well. Now go in with the beauty blender and go to town. Now when you look straight, you literally can't even see those lines whatsoever. Now after this, I like to go in with Max Fix Plus just because it is something that will help my face look better. I've noticed that even when applying foundation just regularly, it does end up looking cakey throughout the day, but when you use something like this, it is basically something, like if you were to take, say, a powder blush. If you were to add this to it, you can turn it into a cream. The same way you could use a water and just kind of turn anything into a cream. That's usually how foundations start too. You have like a mineral foundation, you just mix it in with some kind of a base, water or whatever, and it becomes this liquid consistency. They just blend it out really, really well to make it look like this. So what I'm going to do is Max Fix Plus is the same thing as kind of like a water. It just takes it and kind of adheres to it and makes it more liquidy rather than powdery. So if you have powdery kind of face, you really want to make sure you use this. I literally just use this throughout the entire process of doing my makeup just because it always makes me look a little better. Also, I like to just go in and press the Fix Plus into my skin. Now at this point I like to do eyebrows. Now for right now I'm actually not going to be filling in my eyebrows full out. This is my natural eyebrow. Normally all I do is use castor oil on it, and that's really what makes my eyebrows really thick and just continuously grow. I also shape them myself, so I will be doing a separate video on my eyebrows simply because too many people asked, and I have my eyebrow routine set to different kind of things. I have my everyday eyebrow, I have my kind of like going out dramatic eye eyebrow, and then I have another eyebrow which is just like a completely different shape than what I have. So I'm going to be doing that video separately. I will link it down below when it does happen, and I also will add an annotation right here once it's up. It's just so many people requested that I have to do a separate video. It's just going to be too long of a video if I add it in here as well. Now I filled in my eyebrows, and one of my biggest tips is to go in with a cream concealer. This is the same palette we were using before, and apply it underneath your eyebrows and on top of your eyebrows. Now this I'm using is the 618 brush from Sedona Lace. It works fantastic to just apply the concealer around your eyebrows. Now again, this is only when I'm trying to like really have an intense like eyebrow game. Another tip I have is go in with a powder. This is the Rimmel Stay Matte, and all I'm going to do is just take the Sedona Lace 217 brush, and we're going to put some powder on our eyelids just like that, and boom, your eyes are primed. Because whenever you put concealer or a foundation, any cream product on your eye, and then you set it with a powder, it's just as good, maybe even better than an eye primer. So basically, you're saving money that way. Bam. You're welcome. Now for eyes, I'm going to show you just a really simple technique of putting eyeshadow on. This is one of my quickest go-tos. I take brown script from MAC or any really warm color, take it on a nice kind of brush that can be easily blended into the crease. I just look down into a mirror so that you can get really into that crease, and I apply that product right there onto the crease. Then I go in with a pointed brush, and again looking down, just push a dark color into the crease. Less is more, don't forget that. And then in order to blend this color in, I look kind of straight into the mirror so that my eye is open, and this way the brush just fits right there in between my eye and it really blends it in. And I keep the product only on the very tip, so it's really just brushing aside everything else. And don't be scared to just like push that product upwards, and feel free to move the brush around like this. So like this to make it really kind of smoky, and like this to really push it up there. Another eye trick, if you take a brush that's like flat, instead of taking it like this, flip it like this, and maybe add a color that you were using in the crease or something that's like a light brown. What you're going to do is just blend it, and it will give you that smoky effect that you want in your crease. It'll kind of like fade it out. I took like a nice orangey pink shade. Then I'm going to go ahead and take a light shade, something that is close to your skin color but maybe a little lighter, and we're going to apply that all over the lid. And the way I do it, again, taking that brush that has the flat side, I'm going to take it, pat it onto the top of it, put it in the center, and then brush it side to side. Now for eyeliner, that is a whole different story. I have so much tips and tricks for you, and I think I'm going to do a separate video on that. I will give you the basics right now, but to show you exactly how I apply eyeliner is going to be a little tough. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this, and I'll just do a voiceover to explain to you how I do it. Alright, so basically with any eyeliner, it's up to you what kind of eyeliner works for you. Sometimes gel eyeliners are easier for some people, and others prefer something like this, which is like a marker. This is a new marker that came with Maybelline's new kind of like expert collection or whatnot. I got it at Target. It works nice. I really like it, but you do want to make sure you set it with a black eyeshadow after. I always start from the center, work my way towards the inner corner, and then start thickening the outer part, and then work on the wing. It's just how I do it, honestly. It takes some getting used to, but practice makes perfect. Once again, I'm going to go in there with the concealer palette. Again, concealer palettes are fantastic because they can just clean everything up with the swipe of a brush. And I'm just going to blend that in so that everything looks clean and precise. Now go in with any gel eyebrow product and just set your eyebrows. This will add darkness without kind of changing your eyebrow shape, and it will simply just add darkness to the hairs and thickness. Now, one of my favorite ways of contouring my nose lately has been taking a cream product, which is just the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in number 35, and all I do is just apply the product along the side of my nose. Now again, if you want your nose to look thinner, bring these lines closer together, and if you want them to look your nose to look wider, bring them farther apart. I'm just going to simply outline my nose. I don't really mind the shape of my nose, like I like it. So I'm going to just tap that in there and let it blend in. Now I'm going to go back in with that Sedona lace brush and just kind of blend that color with the foundation color I have on. Now for contour, most of the time I love using purpley shades or shades that are a little bit more gray, something along these lines compared to something that, say, is a little bit more bronzy, because those bronzers are meant to kind of add color compared to this, which would add shadow. So I'm using this. It is a medium plus, just a normal powder. Feel free to use powders. No one ever said that you weren't allowed to use a powder as a contour. I don't know why everyone is scared to do it, but I freaking love it, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm looking for my brush. I'm taking a brush like this. This is from Real Techniques. I'm taking it, tap off excess, and really just push that into the area where I want that contour. And then for adding that color, I just take a powder brush for the temple area, just because I don't want it to be too harsh. And then I do the same exact thing with a giant powder brush on my jawline. Okay, so I finished my mascara. I was planning on showing it to you guys in this video, but oh my gosh, do you see the number that we're on right now? It is so late in the video. So I made a separate video about it about like 3 days ago. So the video is up, you will see it, and hopefully you enjoy it. I will add a link over here and a link down below if you're on your phone, but you will be able to see it. You'll be able to know how I get these lashes. And by the way, these aren't fake lashes, these are my actual lashes. I have a secret product that has made my lashes grow so much, and my eyebrows. And then for lips, I really didn't have any tricks or tips at the current moment. I have a lot of them that are like good for summer, so I will make a video like this again in the summertime. Hopefully you guys are excited. One thing I wanted to mention, I don't really like to wear blush and bronzer. I usually like to pick one or the other. I just feel like it crowds my face up too much. It depends. Some people look really good with it. For me personally, on an everyday basis, I don't like to wear blush, so that's just me, but it is what it is. So now that my face is done, I'm going to go in with my Urban Decay All Nighter Makeup Setting Spray and just spray that all over my face. So yeah, that's how I do my makeup. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching this video. A giant thumbs up if you learned something, and comment below telling me what tip you did not know, and if you have any other tips for me. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Now once that's going, the little 872 brush because I like to hit my face. I just hit myself in the face and now I don't know what to say. Now I like to switch brushes. No, I don't. First, I need to finish this part. Because it's still there. It's still there. I like to highlight with the Maybelline. I mean, not Maybelline, the MAC Prep and Prime. Come on, girl. You need to know your products. You're a beauty guru. Come on, get your shit together.